For Ferguson, got it!
Patrick Netherton.
13-yard touchdown. Demons are back in it. And good afternoon. We welcome you in. It's the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. That's right. You heard what I said. I said 1130 The Tiger. What's up, guys and gals and humans, droids? I can't remember what else he said in Spaceballs. Humans, non-humans, droids. He's a Mog, half man, half dog. Oh, shut up, Siri. Nobody's talking to you. Then it said, shut up, Siri on it. Nobody's talking to you, Siri. Leave me alone. We ain't about that. What's up, everybody? Hope everyone is having themselves a wonderful day. Coming up at 4 o'clock, Rogers, we're going to chat with the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcat baseball team, Nick Mingione. See, I knew I was going to do that. Nick Mingione. Luckily, I didn't call him Mingione during the interview. I called him Mingione, but I knew I was going to do that. That's tough for me because I think of the one that always gets me is Mangione. Was it like Eric Mangini? And then who was the one at Kansas? Mangino?
Yeah.
Was it Kansas? And then, of course, Chuck Mangione. Yeah. I'm sure Rogers will play some Chuck Mangione at some. Was it? Yeah, it was Mangione, right?
Yeah.
Rogers will probably play some. There's even Chuck Mangione in the system. Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if there would, if there was. So anyway, we're going to have a little chat with Nick Mingione. Golly, it's rough, Rogers. Tough beginning. Can we just do the show over? We started. No, I'm just kidding. Because Rogers will do it. He would totally do it. Yeah, he would totally do it. No, we talked to Nick Mingione, the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats. He'll join us at 4 o'clock. We will discuss how they got through their their regional, having to do it the hard way. Lost game 2 and then had to come back and beat Indiana twice in order to get to the Super Regional. Of course, they'll be traveling to Baton Rouge to take on LSU. And so Jay Johnson, by the way, Rogers, once again, not doing interviews this week. So he's going to do kind of what he needs to do, he's supposed to do, he has to do, and that is what he's going to do. He's not going to do anything more than that. And so, unfortunately, we will not get an opportunity to talk to Jay Johnson. Bill Franquez, the wonderful SID and color analyst on the road and PA voice at home, Bill Franquez says the hope is that if they get to Omaha, he'll be able to get Jay to do some interviews before Omaha. So fingers crossed, because he's the only one we haven't talked to. We talked to everybody except for the Oregon State coach in the regional, and of course now we've got Nick Mingione, the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, who are in the Supers. You may remember Kentucky played LSU in Baton Rouge, lost game 1 big, won game 1 with an offensive explosion, and then lost a close one in game 3. So we're going to discuss how that all went down, what it's going to look like, and thus and so. So looking forward to that. Should be a lot of fun to chat with Nick Mingione. Rogers, folks may have caught on to the fact that we perhaps already talked to him. Since I mentioned I didn't actually say his name wrong during the interview. Yeah, we actually conducted the interview. We recorded it this morning. So that's why it'll look a little different. So there you go. All right, don't forget, we are on YouTube the rest of the week. YouTube, go to YouTube, search for The Patrick Netherton Show, or probably even my name, and you will be able to do it. Double J is checked in, said, chat check, stay on YouTube. The ham cam is hilarious. Well, here's the thing. We're not doing anything different with the cameras, with anything. The only thing different is that we're on YouTube instead of Facebook, and we have the opportunity to watch ourselves on television if we want to. It just depends on if Rogers wants to watch us or if he wants to watch Channel 3 News at 3 o'clock. That will determine whether or not he gets to look at himself on television, as he did yesterday, where he just kept looking up and going, oh, my gosh, looky there. We're on TV. So, and the thing is, Rogers, if you're over on YouTube, you get to see my sweet Voltron shirt today. I went to, not to plug a website, but I went to 80stees.com. I'd seen a bunch, I'd seen ads for them before, and I'm like, man, there's, some Thundercat shirts, some old G.I. Joe shirts, all that stuff. And so I went over there, and I saw a bunch of great shirts. Now, they're pretty pricey. There, I'll tell you that. For T-shirts, they're pretty dang pricey. But I loved them, and I was telling one of my buddies, Jeff, who comments on the show quite a bit, I was telling Jeff about it, and Jeff sent me, Rogers, unbeknownst to me, he just popped up with hey, here's a $100 gift certificate. Merry Christmas. So I got my Christmas gift, Christmas in July, as they say, even though it's June. And so, yeah, I went and got a bunch of shirts. I actually got 4 shirts. And Hambone, I will be debuting them during the show as we go along. So today we start with Voltron, a cartoon that Rogers has never heard of before, which I found kind of interesting. I mean, I thought Voltron was, even though it may not have been in Rogers' wheelhouse and, he may not have watched it, I thought for sure that he would at least have heard of Voltron, but apparently not. Apparently Hambone is Voltron free. But yeah, Voltron was it was kind of a Japanese anime style show. And basically it was 5 folks. I think there were 4 guys and 1 girl. And they got in mechanical lions, and they went and battled kind of the villain of the week sort of thing. And it was all mechanized, like it was all like mechanical robots, fighting each other. And so they would kind of fight and here's the thing, Rogers. So Voltron was when all of the lions came together. They kind of like the old Transformers, the Destructicons, and a couple other ones, where they would come together to form a really big robot. Well, that's what Voltron did. 2 lions formed the legs, 2 lions formed the arms, and then there was a lion that formed the chest and head. And they were all of the lions were still in their all the people were still in their little respective lions. Mechanized lions, but then they came together to form Voltron. And so, Rogers, here was my problem with every episode of Voltron. Every one. Why didn't you just form Voltron at the beginning and get it over with? But every single time, Rogers, they would try to attack separately. As 5 lions, they would try to attack, and every time the big beast of the week would defeat them. It'd knock them around, and the lions would go sprawling all over the place, and he was just beating hell out of them. And then they were like, hey, let's form Voltron, this unbeatable giant robot. And then they'd go, okay, let's form Voltron, and they'd form Voltron, and then Voltron would win. I was like, why didn't y'all just do that to start with? Why do we always have to have all 5 of y'all go out there and get defeated individually to then decide that, we're going to form Voltron and we'll let Voltron go and whip some ass? I don't know why it happened that way. It drove me crazy, though. It really did. Absolutely drove me crazy that's how Voltron operated. But that's the shirt today. Got Voltron. So see, Rogers, this is like one arm is a lion, the other arm's a lion. You can't see his legs. Those are also lions. And then he had a sword that kind of formed out of midair, sort of, out of nothing, it seemed. And Voltron would go and defeat the enemies. And I always, again, I was, I guess, maybe too smart for my own good at that age. And immediately I was like, why not just form Voltron at the beginning, and then you can go and defeat the enemy, and we'll be done. Like, just do it. And no, they'd, oh, let's go, guys. And they'd go and they'd attack, and the big giant beast would repel all of them and beat them all up. And then they were like, all right, let's form Voltron. They'd form Voltron, and they'd win. Just do it at the beginning. Save us all the steps. So Voltron is the first cool 80s tee that we're debuting. Rogers, we have 3 more of these to go. One of which I debated with, because I kind of wanted a G.I. Joe shirt, but I decided to not get a G.I. Joe shirt, and I went with something that, Rogers, you'll appreciate. And when I that might be tomorrow's shirt, actually, but you'll appreciate it because it's very much me. And so we'll debut that one probably tomorrow. So if you want to see the Voltron shirt, it is on the live stream on YouTube. Pretty sweet. Pretty awesome shirt, not going to lie. Very comfy, too. Got a good size, comfy. Looks good, feels good. I'm a happy man. All right, more Live PGA Tour fallout. We've heard from Jay Monahan. We've heard from Rory McIlroy. We have not really heard anything from the Live golfers, and we haven't really heard anything from the kind of rank and file of the PGA Tour. Also worth remembering that this is, and a lot of people are talking about this is a merger of the PGA Tour and Live Golf. Well, it's not. Live Golf as an entity is not involved in this at all. This is actually the group that funds Live Golf, PIF, the personal investment fund or whatever it's called, which is what the Saudis invest in. It is the DP Tour. It is the DP World Tour. It is the PGA Tour, and it is the PIF, the Personal Investment Fund or whatever it's called. Those are the entities that are combining. The Live Tour is just probably going to just go away. It's not going to necessarily be a merger per se because the Live Tour is just funded by the money from Saudi Arabia through this PIF, this fund. So that's what's merging. The Live Tour is not actually merging in. And again, likely the Live Tour will vanish, and then there will be some sort of process by which the Live golfers can apply for reinstatement on the PGA Tour or reinstatement on whatever the new tour is going to be called. And I'm actually really curious to see, it would make sense now that will the PGA Tour, the DP Tour, the Live Tour still exist as entities under the umbrella of whatever this new conglomerate monolith is, or will they all cease to exist? And it's just, let's just call it we'll call it the Hambone Tour, just for no other reason, just to have a name. Will the Hambone Tour now consist of, all right, well, underneath the Hambone Tour is the PGA, the DP Tour, and Live Golf, or will it just be the Hambone Tour and everyone plays on the Hambone Tour? We don't know. That's to be determined. But basically what everyone is kind of saying is, so now Saudi Arabia has basically bought American golf. By and large, correct. But keep in mind, the majors, none of the majors are actually under the auspices of the PGA Tour. That's the thing that's kind of amazing, is the PGA Tour runs all of these events throughout the course of the year. The Colonial and Memorial and John Deere Classic and all these different events are run by the PGA Tour. But the PGA Tour doesn't actually have anything to do with any of the majors. The USGA handles the US Open. The PGA of America handles the PGA Championship. Obviously, the Masters handles the Masters, and the Royal and Ancient handles the British Open. So none of the majors are actually handled by the PGA Tour, which is why all of the Live golfers were able to participate in all of the majors. In order for the Live golfers to not participate in the majors, the Masters would have had to say no. The R&A, the Royal and Ancient, would have had to say no. The USGA would have had to say no, and the PGA of America would have to say no. Again, the PGA of America and the PGA Tour are separate entities. So That to me is kind of the fascinating aspect of this, is what is it going to look like when this conglomeration is put together? And then maybe even before that, will this even happen, right? Because it's supposed to happen, but the Department of Justice could have something to say. Like, legitimately, the Department of Justice could come in and say, hey, by the way, we're not, we're not okay with an entity in America taking money from a potentially hostile government that murdered a journalist and all of that. The government could come in and put the kibosh on this. So now it becomes kind of a fascinating story, and what happens from here moving forward. And that's what obviously we're all watching. Rory McIlroy comes out and says, maybe he heard some inklings about it, and but in the end, he was caught off guard by the fact that it happened this fast. None of the other PGA Tour members seemed to know at all that anything was going on. They all seemed to be caught off guard. There apparently was a meeting yesterday, and it was reasonably, as you might imagine, emotional and somewhat hostile. And so now we're going to see exactly what happens with everyone. I still think Jay Monahan ultimately loses his job over this. I think the PGA Tour members, because, the whole rah-rah, everybody stay with us, we're against the Saudis and 9/11 and, the 9/11 families. And then, the murder of Jamal Khashoggi and all of these things, we're against that. And so we're going to speak out against it. We're not going to, be a part of this live tour. We're not going to take that dirty money from the Saudis. And then in secret, you turn around and go work a deal to take the dirty money from the Saudis. That's not going to fly very well. So be interesting to see. I'll be curious to see how long, if Jay Monahan keeps his job, how long for. And then if he does keep his job, I'll be a little bit surprised if he stays in it. So we got all that going on. We got the NBA Finals. They crank it back up tonight, Rogers, isn't it right? Yes. Yeah, tonight. Denver, Miami, 7:30 Central Time. It's a 1-1 series. I thought that Miami would get a game. I thought they would get a game at home. I did not expect them to go on the road and win one. I fully expect Denver to take the game tonight. I think that's one of those things where kind of snap them back to attention a little bit, and goes ahead and I think you could probably imagine that Coach Malone will kind of have their attention here and get them back in shape. So I would expect Denver to win tonight, and then we will move from there. All right. Elvis Presto says, I'm pulling for Patrick Rogers to win the first Hambone Tour event. Hell yeah, that'd be the perfect guy to do it. Rogers, I still need to try to set up an interview with Patrick Rogers. It couldn't last more than like 5 minutes. Like, hey, buddy, we don't really know anything about you, but we would love to have you on just because your name is the same name as both of us on the show. I'm sure he'd go for that, Rogers. That seems a good enough reason to ask someone to come on the show. Hey, buddy. Like, hey, how cool is it that you have the same, both of your names are our names on the show? That's great. All right, then, good luck this season, and we'll see you later. I think that'd be the interview, Rogers. Still would be pretty hilarious, not going to lie. I love the fact that there's somebody on the tour named Patrick Rogers. That's awesome. All right, multiple ways for you to get in touch with the show is, again, we are streaming on YouTube now, not over on Facebook anymore, at least for the week. We're going to look at YouTube. We did get hit with the music yesterday, but it didn't happen during the show. The live video stayed up. It happened after the show. I got an email at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something saying that they had copyright struck us. So yesterday's show is blocked. You can't watch it back, which, I mean, doesn't really matter that much to me at this point. I'm not trying to go back and watch it back. But, yeah, so no no opportunity for you to watch yesterday's show. But Nick Mingione, the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, will join us at the top of the hour. 318-320-1130 is the phone number. 318-320-1130.
Hello.
And text us on the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line. That number is 318-6570-HAM, 318-657-0426, also known as the
Bobby L. Green Plumbing
text line. We're also available, Rogers, on YouTube. That's right. Not on Facebook, on YouTube. We are live on YouTube as we speak. You can go to YouTube, search for The Patrick Netherton Show. If you have a YouTube account, it'd be cool if you maybe wanted to give us a little subscription. Rogers, we've had 8 subscriptions in the last, 24 hours, so people are kind of moving over there. The good news is, again, with YouTube, you don't have to subscribe or even have an account on YouTube to watch.
All right.
So you can just, like I did yesterday here in the studio, I put on the YouTube app, I dialed up the Patrick Netherton Show, and hit the live thing, and sure enough, there we were on the TV screen. Rogers was impressed. Now you're over it, Rog? You over it? Well, you got your 3 o'clock news, so maybe at 4 though we'll switch over and we'll watch the interview. See the interview. The good news is, Rogers, you can actually turn the interview up, just watch it on your TV. You don't have to because we recorded it. Obviously, live would be a little tough, but pre-recorded interview, we can do it that way. And by the way, that interview will be up on our YouTube channel if you want to go back and watch it by itself. That will be posted here in just a couple of minutes. Actually, I'm working on that right now. So, if you want to call, you can. You want to text, you can. Watch us on YouTube. Again, give us a subscription. Feel free to do that. We would appreciate it. Or don't. But again, you can watch the video now on YouTube, so you don't have to have a Facebook account to go and watch the stream. You can just watch it on YouTube. Trey said something. Okay, that'll work. Hey, I appreciate you texting me something. But yeah, so go find us on YouTube and watch us there. We're also available on the tweets if you would like to be a part of that. At Netherton Show is the main Twitter feed. That guy over there is at HeyBoyRogers, and I would be at PT Netherton. So find us there. Again, the YouTube channel. We're going to push the YouTube channel hard because we want everyone getting over there and being a part of it. So please do that. Please do that. We would appreciate it. All right. You can also find us, if you like, on the app. That's a good way to tune in. Just get your phone or your tablet. Go to your iTunes store, your App Store, or your Google Play. Search for 1130 The Tiger and download the app. It's our logo, little purple logo. It says 1130 The Tiger. And it's got the little LSU tiger claw stripe marked thing. And you can download that and listen to us. It sounds great. Also, the YouTube channel looks really good, looks real sharp. So feel free to follow us there if you like on YouTube. And again, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you would. That will allow you to get notifications when we're live and all of that stuff. Also, we had someone just text in, 318 said, "What's up with Hester and T-Bob? No show the last couple of days." If you listen to the show yesterday, we had a hard drive issue on the computer that handles really all the shows. It's where our main programming computer is. I had to replace the hard drive Monday morning, and then as part of that, a bunch of settings had to be changed, and things were not done. And unfortunately, now the way that our IT works, Greg just can't come in and fix it. It's got to be, got to send a ticket to the big boys, and then they've got to go in and fix it. So we believe we have it fixed. It didn't get fixed today, but we believe we've got it good and ready to go. So it should be back to regular scheduling tomorrow. So apologies for that, but just one of those things where when Hambone's computer crashed, or really the studio computer crashed, when it crashed, it kind of changed everything, reset a bunch of things, and we're not allowed to go in and fix them is basically what happened. So Trey said the YouTube chat box said say something, so I did. And so he wrote something. No. Say something, I'm giving up on you. No, don't know that song, Rogers. Anything I would do.
Who is it?
Say something, I'm giving up on you. I don't know. I think it's called Say Something. It would probably be in the system. Say, is it Say Something by a Great Big World? Is that, no, maybe not.
Okay, either Great Big World with Christina Aguilera or Austin Martin.
Yes, it's Say Something by a Great Big World and Christina Aguilera is what it is. That's the one. Okay, we'll do that going into break then. It's very slow though. It's not at all a peppy song. Yeah, it's okay. Rogers enjoyed a little slow song earlier on the way over. We had a little slow jams on our way to lunch. All right, so find us on YouTube. Again, subscribe, please. We're pushing the YouTube channel because that's what we're going to go to for the foreseeable future. We want to get a bunch of folks over there. And again, you don't have to subscribe, but it just helps. You can just tune in. You can chat, whatever you like. We've got everything available to you right there on the YouTube channel. Now we got to introduce Rogers Hampton.
We represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, and in the name of the Lollipop Guild, we wish to welcome you to Munchkin Land.
Hey, boy!
Hey, boy.
Hi, man.
Hello.
What's up, my dude?
It's hump day.
It is hump day.
2 down, 2 to go.
Good of you to note that.
2 down, 2 to go.
We're moving along, Rogers, getting through the week. Hambone found out that he doesn't have to do Ben and JJ on Friday, so he's a happy man. He gets to leave at his normal time instead of having to stay an extra hour as JJ will be getting married. You know what's funny, Rogers? We were chatting with JJ yesterday, and I almost asked him when he was getting married. Because I knew they were engaged. I just didn't know when the wedding was going to be. It's funny. I literally was going to ask him that yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, getting married this weekend." So, good for them. They're not going to have a show on Friday because they will be doing rehearsals and all that stuff. I always thought wedding rehearsals were pretty funny, just because I think we all kind of know what's up, right? You all walk down the aisle, and then you get up, and you say I do, you say I do, you kiss, and boom, you're married. Kiss her. Another Spaceballs reference for you. How you be, man? You all right? Everything?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good.
Feeling good?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I mean, a regular, normal.
Yeah. Just
Not worse
you
than
just reminded
normal?
me after to do the 5 o'clock show today, so that just kind of hit me.
No, sorry, man.
And no JJ, so, no Ben. No Ben today.
Yeah, but you
it
do
is
have Hunt.
Palmer Day.
That's right.
So we'll probably do 20-25 minutes with him if I can talk JJ.
I wonder if he got to talk to the Kentucky baseball coach today, Rogers.
I'm sure he did.
Probably not. Actually, I don't know what interviews they were doing, to be honest with you. I know that he told me, the SID said, look, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it work, but you can talk to our radio guy. I was like, well, that's a fallback if I need to. I don't know their radio guy at all. I was like, well, if we need to. And then came through for me. Got to record it this morning. And we'll get to play it back here in about 30 minutes or so. All right, let's take a break. There it is. Say something, I'm giving up on you. That's what it sounds like, Rogers. You'll hear it in a second. Here we go.
Say something, I'm giving up on you.
I'm not that far off. Yeah, Great Big World and Christina Aguilera.
I'll be the one
If you want me to. It's a very odd singing style. All right, so Patrick Netherton Show, 11:30, The Tiger. We'll be back.
anywhere I would have followed you.
Bobby L. Green Plumbing has been in business for over 6 decades, 60 plus years. That's remarkable, since technology is always shifting and times change. Not only has Bobby L. Green Plumbing survived, they adapted to the modern marketplace, and they've thrived. Green Plumbing can spot trouble faster and repair it quicker using the latest technology. That eliminates your discomfort and saves you money. Bobby L. Green, the Green Team, the plumbing team you like best.
If you're looking for the finest in seafood, the finest in steaks, and a beautiful ambiance, you're looking for Two John Steak and Seafood, 2151 Airline Drive in Bossier City. It is absolutely spectacular, from the New Orleans-style courtyard to the ambiance of the bar to the elegance of the dining room. The best steaks, the best seafood, one of the best wine lists in town, and don't forget Friday lunch, where you can have a beautiful ribeye burger, just the tastiest one in town. It's Two John Steak and Seafood, and make sure you tell Big John we said hello.
It's almost here. The return of Shreveport's Comic-Con, GeekCon, this August at the Shreveport Convention Center. Hurry and get your tickets today. Johnny's Pizza Ultimate VIP tickets have already sold out. There are a limited number of Johnny's Pizza swag passes still available. Buy your tickets today at geekcon.com. This year, you can meet legendary filmmaker Kevin Smith, along with Superman actor Brandon Routh, WWE Hall of Famer and Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, from Doctor Who, John Barrowman, NFL Hall of Famer Bob Lilly, along with stars from Harry Potter, Disney, Star Wars, and more. Not only can you meet these stars, but you can hear them tell stories inside the U.S. Army panel room. Stay up to date by downloading the GeekCon app, brought to you by Landers, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. Keep an eye out for special pre-GeekCon parties at Bears on Fairfield and Shreveport. See the full lineup and get ticket info at geekcon.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced. Let our professional parts people test your battery for free at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Tired of wasting your money on testosterone booster products that just don't work? We don't blame you. That's why Nugenix Total T lets you try before you buy. Just text HOT to 369-369 to claim your complimentary sample. Why have millions of men already trusted Nugenix for a man-boosting increase in their testosterone levels? Well, nothing else is like it. It contains testofen, a patented key ingredient shown to work. Nugenix Total T boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you feel better at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand and #1 at GNC and #1 at Walmart. But don't take our word for it. Try before you buy. If it works, keep using it. If not, keep the sample. You've got nothing to lose, but you could gain energy, muscle, drive, even more passion. Text HOT to 369-369. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HOT to 369-369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Summer is upon us, and it's going to be about that time for your juniors heading into their senior year to start thinking, if they haven't already decided, what am I going to do next? Northwestern State University, nsula.edu, nsudemons.com. Northwestern State University, that next phase of life for your youngster, far enough away for their independence and your sanity, and of course close enough when they need you and you really need them. It's here. Northwestern State University, just an hour away, but can take your kid miles into the future. Northwestern State University, nsula.edu.
It's almost here. The return of Shreveport's Comic-Con, GeekCon, this August at the Shreveport Convention Center. Hurry and get your tickets today. Johnny's Pizza Ultimate VIP tickets have already sold out. There are a limited number of Johnny's Pizza swag passes still available. Buy your tickets today at geekcon.com. This year, you can meet legendary filmmaker Kevin Smith, along with Superman actor Brandon Routh, WWE Hall of Famer and Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, from Doctor Who, John Barrowman, NFL Hall of Famer Bob Lilly, along with stars from Harry Potter, Disney, Star Wars, and more. Not only can you meet these stars, but you can hear them tell stories inside the U.S. Army panel room. Stay up to date by downloading the GeekCon app, brought to you by Landers, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. Keep an eye out for special pre-GeekCon parties at Bears on Fairfield and Shreveport. See the full lineup and get ticket info at geekcon.com.
We're going to celebrate every day all month long.
Okay, I get it, but I'm kind of tired of celebrating. Like,
we're
how
gonna
is
celebrate.
it? Oh, okay. So
it's the Jeep celebration event.
I get
There's
it.
a lot to celebrate.
I understand, but is it just going to be like every time somebody buys a Jeep, we're just both going to be like,
all day, all night long. I'm not going to sleep until we're done celebrating. We're going to celebrate the fact that Landers has $6,750 off a 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Limited two-wheel drive. That is something to celebrate about. How about the fact that Landers also has $3,500 off MSRP on 2023 Jeep Gladiator Sports in stock? We're going to celebrate that. How about we celebrate the fact that we've got all kinds of Jeeps, all shapes of Jeeps, all sizes of Jeeps, all during the Jeep celebration event. So if you want to drive away in your new Jeep, come see us today at Landers during the Jeep celebration event happening all month long. And remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you probably pay too much with approved credit. Based on stock number P878349, West Finance Crash Capital CD with details.
103.3 FM and 1130 The Tiger.
Floating through the airwaves like smooth hickory smoke. Patrick Netherton.
Patrick Netherton Show, 1130 The Tiger. That guy over there is Rogers. I'm Patrick. Hope everyone is having themselves a wonderful day. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to chat with new Kentucky head coach Nick Mingione. Not new, but is heading to Baton Rouge to play in the Super Regional against LSU. And we'll get the scouting report on LSU. We'll talk about how he feels about the new kind of baseball and strike zones and the new offensive output that's going on in the course of college baseball. We'll get into having already played in Baton Rouge and, of course, the path that they took to get through the Lexington Regional. Rogers, we did not get into the hotel room situation. I kind of thought about asking him about it, but I decided not to. It was, I guess it turned out to be kind of a non-story, but I kind of wanted to ask him about it. But I will say it was a great interview. I not to just, amusingly say great interview. I thought he was really good. It wasn't me. I mean, he was phenomenal. Really a big fan. So, not say I'm pulling for Kentucky or anything, but I hope they're competitive. I'd like it to go 3. Let's go ahead and have a Monday game. Of course, Rogers, if we had a Monday game, depending on what time it was, no.
I'd rather get to the World Series.
I'm saying just get to the Monday game. They can win if they want at that point. But you maybe get a little time off, Monday off, depending on when they play. And who know? And again, the times, and this is what's interesting. This is what's different about this event in the last several years. It used to be it was set. It was Saturday at blank, Sunday at blank, Monday at blank. Now it's Saturday at 2, Sunday TBA, Monday TBA, and a lot of that will depend on what other games are going on. They kind of they want to put their best teams in prime time, all of that. So it makes sense that they would do it that way. Let's get to the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line. That number is 318-657-0HAM, 318-657-0426. Trey yesterday, Roger, said M rocks. I guess you played something by M at some point.
Talk about it.
Buck Naked said it's not 11:30 the Tiger, it's 11:30 the Wildcat today. We got Kentucky's baseball coach on the Wildcats. Yeah. Look, man, I'm just here to try to present, try to give you some preview. Y'all all know what LSU is. Y'all all know who LSU is. Y'all know Gavin Guidry and Paul Skeens and everybody in the bullpen, Nate Ackenhausen and all these guys. Y'all know all that. I'm trying to give you some stuff you don't know. And that is the Kentucky head coach. An opportunity to hear about the Wildcats from the guy who's in control of the Wildcats. Big Peanut said, I loved Voltron as a kid, right up there with G.I. Joe and Thundercats. Spoiler alert, one of those might be a shirt I now own, Rogers. I mean, I own Voltron, obviously, I'm wearing it. But one of those other two might be one of my new shirts that I will continue to debut throughout the course of the next week or so. Jamie G said, I had a Fievel Goes West shirt a few years ago. I never saw, was that American Tail, right? Wasn't that the original American Tail was the Fievel, the little mouse? I never saw the Fievel movies. I was a little too old when they came out, and I just never did see them. He also said yesterday, Schlossnagel, what kind of beer is that, Rogers? That was Jim Schlossnagel, now the head coach of the Aggies of Texas A&M. Finch said, hypothetically, how do you handle a situation where you're 5 minutes into a conversation and you realize that person has never read a book in their life? Well, I mean, is it a conversation about a book? Like, I think it'd need to be what's the gist of the conversation? Right? Because, I mean, it's not like Rogers doesn't read a bunch of books. You know, Hambone's not a bookworm. He's read a book before. He obviously read books to get through school. But I'm sure if you go to Hambone's home right now, he doesn't have like a nice tome sitting there waiting for him when he gets home to read through. But I could have a conversation with Rogers with no problem. So I think it depends on what the conversation is. Are you trying to have a conversation about literature or about some kind of language or something in a book? I mean, take a look, Rogers. It's in a book, The Reading Rainbow. I can be anything. That's my boy LeVar Burton, Rog, Reading Rainbow. Ways to go, no ways to know, place to go, a reading rainbow. Let's see, 318, real question. What did Monahan get? 1% ownership, $200 million? Yeah, we don't know. You know, Monahan, I don't know if Monahan got anything out of the deal itself or if he just negotiated it. My guess is he's going to get some money to go away. Again, that's just pure speculation on my part, or speculation on my part, either one. Pure speculation on my part. But if I had to guess, I would guess that Jay Monahan gets money to go away. The PGA Tour folks are mad at him. Apparently the meeting yesterday was a bit contentious. So I'm guessing that they're going to pay him and send him on his way. And they'll bring someone else up. Because, again, it's not just the fact that you made a deal with the Saudis and you've kind of sold the tour to them. The real issue is the hypocrisy. It's we'd never be in business with those guys, Jamal Khashoggi and 9/11. By the way, Rogers, did you see the tweet, the most viral tweet about this whole thing? It said that with the new deal, the PGA Tour will handle holes 1 through 8 and 12 through 18, and the Saudis will handle 9/11, 9 through 11. That was the most viral tweet about this entire situation. But yeah, I mean, that's, it's the hypocrisy that's the issue, right? It's them coming in and saying, oh yeah, the Live guys, they're terrible and take money. How do you take money from the Saudis? And they murdered a journalist and, part of 9/11 and all that. And then you turn around 2 years later and you're taking the money from them. That's the part that's ringing false. And the fact that they never approached the tour membership. Keep in mind, they don't have to, because the PGA Tour, the members of the PGA Tour have no real voting power. It's not like it's a membership, that allows you're not like on the board of trustees or board of directors or whatever. You're just a contract employee as part of the membership. They don't really have any sort of say other than, hey, we don't like this, we don't want to do this, that kind of thing. And most of the time it hasn't been acrimonious. Most of the time it's been pretty harmonious. They all kind of want the same things. They want to get the same things accomplished. It's only until now that it's really gotten acrimonious. So it'll be interesting because, again, he had every ability to go and do this deal. And as long as the board of directors, who, again, aren't the PGA Tour members, as long as they could go and make the deal work, then boom, you're there. And they didn't need to consult with the PGA Tour membership because the players aren't voting. They have no rights in this deal. There's not some sort of negotiated players association type of thing like in the NFL. If the NFL ownerships wanted to go and strike a deal to bring in billions from the Saudi Arabians, the NFL Players Association would have something to say about it. They have bargaining power and they have voting power and that kind of thing. But you don't have that in golf. All of the members of the PGA Tour, all of them on the PGA Tour are contract employees. They have no real power. But Rogers, basically, they're the Rogers, Hampton, and Patrick Netherton of golf. Like, we're on this thing. Like, you could consider this radio station the PGA Tour, and we derive money from this entity, but we have no real say in how it operates. We have no voting power at Town Square Media. We're not Town Square Media employees. We are simply contractors. Now, it just so happens we work for Tim Fletcher, but we're contractors. We're not employees of this organization, so it makes things a little bit different. Let's see. 214 said, "Hey, Pat and Rogers, hope y'all are doing well. Happy Hump Day." Oh, this is Emily G. I need to put Emily G in the old. Also, please don't call me Pat. It's the only name I don't really answer to. So hope y'all are doing well. Happy Hump Day. Well, same to you, Emily G. Hope you are doing well as well. And 318 asked about Hester and T-Bob. Yeah, and again, had a hard drive crash, which is funny because we're, Rogers, probably about a month from being in the new studio and having all new equipment and new computers and all of that. And we were kind of hoping that, hey, just hold on, baby. Just, get us to the end. And unfortunately, unable to hold on. And so we ended up, Rogers' hard drive crashed. And because his hard drive crashed, we did not have unfortunately did not have the opportunity to get those recorded. Had to kind of reset all the settings with the new hard drive. Seems though everything's good now. And again, the one of the main issues is everything's going through corporate IT now instead of local IT, and so we couldn't just fix it here. We had to send a ticket and all that stuff. So made it a little bit more difficult, but got it done. And we're happy that everyone is happy to have T-Bob and Hester hopefully for the rest of the week. That'll be cool. And we're looking forward to it. Again, 1 to 3. Tim Fletcher from, what is it, his hours now, Rogers? 4 to noon. Is that right? An 8-hour show. 6 to 10, right? 6 to 10. So, yeah, Fletch is 6 to 10. Then a little national from 11 to really 10 to 1, unless on Wednesdays, in which case it's hooking up and tracking down from 11 to 1. Then T-Bob and Hester from 1 to 3. Then we're on here from 3 to 5. Then Sports Talk with JJ and Bonsai Ben from 5 to 6. And then we're national again until the next morning at 6 a.m. So 12 hours of national programming. Unless, of course, we have LSU playing at some point. Of course, that won't be an issue this week. LSU not playing until Saturday at 2 o'clock. Double J said, y'all would be happy Gilmore and his caddy in that golf analogy. Yeah, basically. I mean, again, tour players are not, they're not employees of the PGA Tour. They're contractors that work. They're personal contractors that work for the PGA Tour. It's not an entity, the players. So they don't have they don't really have a voice, if you will. They have a voice. They can, as we saw when the LIV stuff first happened, they kind of went in and said, hey, we want more money. We want an easier schedule. We want a lot of things that LIV is going to kind of show us. And the PGA Tour said, yeah, that makes sense. We'll get some more money pumped in, and we'll create some new events or have events that are a little different so that you can have some guaranteed money. And then, we'll make it, I think they're going to do like a 54-hole event or two, something like that. So, yeah, there's some work afoot to even things up a little bit. But again, it was just the players going in and saying, hey, we don't like this. We want something else. It was not necessarily, not them going, okay, we're going to vote on this or anything like that. The PGA Tour had to be the one that did it. It was just the PGA players, coming in and saying, hey, this is what we'd like to have happen. We're not pleased with what's going on with the live stuff. We stayed loyal. We didn't go where the money was. And so because of that, we really want this we want these changes to be made. Wait, that can't be right, Rogers. Friday's high cannot be right.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It's going to be 97.
Yeah. It said high tomorrow, 94. High on Friday, 67. And the low, 67, which is amazing. Yeah, I think they just... Is it really going to be 97 on Friday? Is that really going to be what it is? Ugh. Yeah, I mean, it's low to mid-90s. Rogers, I've been out walking last couple of days trying to kind of, keep my fitness up. And my doctor put this glucose monitor on me, this Freestyle Libre. I've got the little, the one that has the little tab on your arm. And you put your phone up to it, and it gives you readings on your blood sugar, keeps track of your blood sugars because I'm type 2 diabetic. And so I got to say, it's been eye-opening. Instead of just pricking my finger once a day and, seeing kind of, okay, this is what my blood sugars look like in the morning or whatever, now I can legitimately figure out how my sugars move throughout the course of the day, all of that. And it's been fascinating. It's eye-opening. I would suggest if you're a diabetic and you can get your hand on a Freestyle Libre, it's worth it. At least do it for a few months to kind of figure out what you got going on, and then you can, maybe get out of it. And so one of the things that I've noticed is my blood sugar really drops when I work out, and that's good because my blood sugars are high. So it's good that when I, if I go get a nice walking workout or whatever, the sugars go down. So that's kind of part of the way that I'm keeping it under control. And I can tell you it's definitely gotten warmer out there. It has absolutely gotten warmer. Let's see. Emily G said, sorry, Jamie G told me to call you Pat, but I do really enjoy y'all's show. Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Emily. Very kind of you. Hey, don't forget, coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to chat with the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, Nick Mingione, who is leading the Wildcats into Baton Rouge for the Super Regional against LSU. Again, first game is Saturday at 2 o'clock. Pregame show will be here on the Tiger at 1:30. And then 2 o'clock first pitch, assuming weather doesn't mess with anything, which it has a tendency to do in spring in Louisiana. So hopefully the weather stays away and Skeens can go and get on the mound for Game 1 on Saturday. Winner, of course, goes to Omaha. That side of the bracket, again, is they would face the winner of Southern Miss Tennessee in the first round in Omaha. So potentially you could have LSU Tennessee in the first round. Then you've got Wake, Alabama, Texas, and Stanford are the other four on that side of the bracket with Southern Miss and Tennessee. So if LSU advances, you could play Wake, Bama, Texas, Stanford, Southern Miss, or Tennessee. Wake, the number 1 overall seed. Texas, obviously, very good. Stanford, very good. Tennessee, the man that Todd Walker thinks is the team that'll probably win the whole thing. Other side of the bracket is Florida, South Carolina, Duke, Virginia, Oregon, Oral Roberts, and Indiana State and TCU. By the way, Roger, did you see the TCU-Indiana State story about what the TCU fans are doing for Indiana State? So because the Special Olympics, which has been held in Terre Haute at Indiana State for 50 years, because the Special Olympics are being held then, and a lot of the personnel that would be handling the Super Regional at Indiana State won't be able to be available. And so because of that, they had to move the Super Regional to TCU. Well, the TCU fans have gotten together a lot like the Bills Mafia likes to do when, who was it? Some quarterback beat somebody to put them in the playoffs or something like 2 years ago. And so the Bills Mafia went and just pounded his charity with money. just overflowed the charity with money because that quarterback helped the Bills get into the playoffs because they beat somebody. Well, now we're seeing that again. TCU is actually, all of their fans are banding together and sending a bunch of money to the Special Olympics of Indiana, because that's the reason why Indiana State can't host the Super Regional. So as part of the deal, the TCU faithful putting together money, donating to the charity, and they're giving a bunch of money to the Special Olympics of Indiana, which is pretty cool, man. Like, that's awesome. At least something good is coming out of that for Indiana State. Not just that they're in a Super Regional, they should be hosting. So at least something good's coming out of it. The Special Olympics of Indiana is going to be making some money off of it. All right, when we come back, we'll have a chat with Nick Mingione, the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats. We'll preview the Super Regional in Baton Rouge next.
So don't forget it.
Bobby L. Green Plumbing has been in business for over 6 decades, 60 plus years. That's remarkable, since technology is always shifting and times change. Not only has Bobby L. Green Plumbing survived, they adapted to the modern marketplace, and they've thrived. Green Plumbing can spot trouble faster and repair it quicker using the latest technology. That eliminates your discomfort and saves you money. Bobby L. Green, the Green Team, the plumbing team you like best.
If you're looking for the finest in seafood, the finest in steaks, and a beautiful ambiance, you're looking for Two John's Steak and Seafood, 2151 Airline Drive in Bossier City. It is absolutely spectacular, from the New Orleans-style courtyard to the ambiance of the bar to the elegance of the dining room. The best steaks, the best seafood, one of the best wine lists in town, and don't forget Friday lunch, where you can have a beautiful ribeye burger, just the tastiest one in town. It's Two John's Steak and Seafood, and make sure you tell Big John we said hello.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Wendy's is open till midnight or later, so you can give in to the craving and go night mode. Now all of your favorite menu items just got their bedtime extended. You can get what you want even later, like the Baconator with 6 strips of bacon, or the perfect fries and Frosty Duo. If you're up later, then so are we. So go ahead and pull through the drive-thru. When the craving hits, go night mode at Wendy's. Open till midnight or later. All right, see ya later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary.
11:30 The Tiger, your home for LSU sports, powered by Jack Spring Electric.
DQ presents how to get the most from your next DQ treat run. Step 1, grab the new Oreo Brookie Blizzard. Step 2, dig in. That's it, because this triple-decker treat has brownie and cookie brookie pieces, plus Oreo pieces. Oh, that's a mouthful of DQ goodness in every red spoonful. Guess it's time for a treat run, because the Oreo Brookie Blizzard is here for a limited time, only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
It's almost here. The return of Shreveport's Comic-Con, GeekCon, this August at the Shreveport Convention Center. Hurry and get your tickets today. Johnny's Pizza Ultimate VIP tickets have already sold out. There are a limited number of Johnny's Pizza swag passes still available. Buy your tickets today at geekcon.com. This year, you can meet legendary filmmaker Kevin Smith, along with Superman actor Brandon Routh, WWE Hall of Famer and Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, from Doctor Who, John Barrowman, NFL Hall of Famer Bob Lilly, along with stars from Harry Potter, Disney, Star Wars, and more. Not only can you meet these stars, but you can hear them tell stories inside the U.S. Army panel room. Stay up to date by downloading the GeekCon app, brought to you by Landers, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. Keep an eye out for special pre-GeekCon parties at Bears on Fairfield and Shreveport. See the full lineup and get ticket info at geekcon.com.
Tiger weather now.
Well, we could see a couple of pop-up showers and thunderstorms up near the Arkansas border today. Otherwise, a mix of clouds and sunshine with 91 our high. Fair skies tonight, lows tonight at 70. Partly cloudy afternoon thunderstorm again tomorrow, mid-90s for highs. Mix of clouds and afternoon shower or storm on Friday. Friday's high in the mid-90s. Richard DeWettig of the Weather Channel.
KWKH and K277DO Shreveport, 103.3 FM and 1130 The Tiger. Your home for LSU sports, a Town Square Media station.
Let's get to the meat of the matter with producer Rogers Hampton.
Hey, boy!
Here's your master of ceremonies, Patrick Netherton.
Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger and 103.3 FM. Look, we gave you some comprehensive coverage of the Baton Rouge Regional last weekend, and Jay Ullman from Tulane was kind enough to join us. You had Jay Sirianni from Sam Houston. Oregon State, unfortunately, with the travel issues, we weren't able to get Coach Canham. But we told you we'd also try to cover the Super Regional if we could, and so joining us now, the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, heading to Baton Rouge tomorrow, Nick Mingione, who survived the regional at home and then was able to head to Baton Rouge. Coach, I've got to imagine you're feeling pretty good right now.
Well, I think anytime any coach right now that's still playing is feeling good.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that, as you guys know, that finished their season this past weekend or on Monday. So, yes, they're just thankful to continue to be playing.
Well, and especially the way you had to do it. Y'all went the hard way through the regional, which is always tough. You have to win those last two games because you're coming in out of the we all call it the loser's bracket, even though that's probably not politically correct anymore. But, you have to come out of that bracket to the elimination bracket, if you will, and you have to beat Indiana twice. Tell me about kind of corralling the troops after that first loss against Indiana and trying to marshal everyone to get back and make that tough run that is coming.
Well, I just told them, I said, hey, look, there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we just lost. The good news is we've been to one Super Regional in the history of our program, and that was my first year here, and that team had to do this exact same thing that we're about to do. We won our first game in 17, we lost our second, and we had to win 3 straight games, and that team did that. And I just said, so you guys aren't going to be the first ones to do it, and we can do it, and here's how we're going to do it. So we just went right for it. We had a really good West Virginia team. As you know, 3 weeks ago, they were a national seed, and we beat them 10-0, and we went on to play the next game that day and, beat Indiana. I think it was 16-6, and then, went on to beat them Monday 4-2.
It's interesting.
That's what we told them.
It's interesting, Coach, because in regional play, typically the longer you go, and when you get to that game 7, your arms you're usually bringing back guys that you have thrown before. It's usually a guy who's already had to throw some pitches, or it's a reliever who's starting and he's maybe had one start in his career, and you typically see the bats come alive. How the heck was that last game 4-2?
Well, one thing I do say about our team, and I've been in this league for 17 years, and I've been fortunate enough to be the head coach here at Kentucky now for 7 years, and in my time here, I would say that, I got this question a lot as the season went on. We just kept pitching at a really high level, and people kept asking, like, Coach, how are you doing this? And I just said, I believe one of the strengths of our pitching staff is our depth. And you don't come out of the loser's bracket of a regional tournament if you don't have some pitching depth. So I would tell you, Patrick, that is one of the strengths of our team, is our pitching depth, and I think that was on display, and it was what we needed to get through it because we had some really good offensive teams in our regional.
Well, it's not only pitching depth, but it's pitching versatility, right? Because you're going to ask guys not only to come back and pitch again, but you're also asking some guys to start that maybe aren't used to being starters, some guys to maybe come in and get an inning or an out that aren't used to doing that in a short stint. It's got to be nice to have that versatility to go along with it.
Yeah, there is, and fortunately for us, we didn't have to do that. We didn't have to ask a guy to start that's never started, or we didn't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to put them in positions that they've been in before. So that was good for us.
Yeah, it certainly certainly helps a lot. That's for sure. The end of the regional, I don't necessarily care if you want to get into it or not, but a lot of emotion at the end of it, and we all know what happened at the end. But kind of walk me through, the emotion of the end, and just trying to make sure that all of that is channeled in the correct direction, because it was a very emotional finale.
I'm not sure what you're referring to, Patrick. Are you talking about our guys celebrating and dogpiling?
Yeah, and there was some little. We kind of saw some brush off at the plate and that sort of stuff. But I mean, it just felt like there was just a lot of emotion expended, and I'm curious if was there anything that happened that was untoward that you didn't like that went on at the end of that game?
Oh, listen, there's just two competitive teams and players and staffs and people getting after it, and no one wants to, have their season end. And, sometimes, there's friendly handshakes, and sometimes, it's just you kind of breeze through it, and you know better not to further discuss or get into any conversation.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for. All right, talking to Nick Mingione, the head coach of Kentucky. All right, so let's look ahead now. You've got LSU. Obviously, you've seen them before. This is not anything new. You've seen them in Baton Rouge, which obviously is a big deal. Tell me about going back and facing a familiar opponent in a familiar environment. I would imagine that has to be somewhat of an advantage, that this is not a new experience for your guys.
Yeah, I think anytime you can have student athletes, experience something that they've been there and done that always helps as a coach. It kind of gives you some peace, and sometimes, having some guys experience new things can be a good thing too, and it can also be a bad thing, as we know. So have a ton of respect for their program. Obviously, with the history and the tradition, I think it speaks for itself. I think Jay Johnson is one of the premier coaches and the best coaches in all of college baseball, and I think there's some people that would tell you that he is the best, right? So obviously they're super talented. They're well coached. That is clearly obvious how well they're coached, how talented they are, and definitely be a really big challenge for us.
Tell me about, obviously, game one. You're getting Skeens. You saw him earlier. Obviously, the bats for LSU got out in front in that first matchup with Skeens, but then you won game two, very competitive in game three. Kind of tell me about how you approach game one against a guy that is projected to potentially go number one in the draft.
Yeah, he's just super talented, and obviously, he's really stingy, Patrick. He don't like to give up runs.
Right.
I mean, so, I think you've got to try to beat him in a bunch of different ways. You got to try to bunt on him. You got to try to grind him out when you get two strikes. You got to try to get a home run. He's given up a couple of those. You just got to, any way that game presents to score a run, you just got to try to do it, because he's just so stingy giving them up.
Well, speaking of, we talked about versatility with the pitching staff. Your versatility in the offense is pretty impressive as well. Sacrifices, bunts, walks, hit by pitches, steals, stolen bags. Even got a little bit of power with doubles and triples and some home runs. What is it about this offense that has kind of shown itself this year to have that sort of versatility for you?
Well, I think it starts with the personnel, and I always think about, if I was to give a basketball example, if you're a coach that likes to run and gun, but you don't kind of have the horses with the players to get up and down the court very good, then that's probably not your style.
Sure.
Right?
If you got a bunch of me's running around out there, Coach, you don't want to be running and gunning, is what we're saying.
Yeah, so I just think our offense is much like that. It's more of an up-tempo style offense that, sometimes we might shoot a three, sometimes we might go to the hoop, sometimes we might pass it 5 times and fully shoot, sometimes we might just try to run out the clock and get the last second shot off. Sometimes so we're just trying to do a bunch of different things, and to me that is offense.
Yeah, and
offense isn't just hitting. There's a lot more to it.
Well, and you've got, 4 different guys that have double-digit steals. You've got a ton of I don't think I've ever seen so many hit-by pitches. You've got so many guys in double digits and hit-by pitches. How do you teach that kind of philosophy. You know, I mean, it's one of these, all right, stand over the plate and wear one, but there's an art to it, right? And there's an art to being able to lay down a sacrifice, and there's an art to a sac fly when a guy's on third with one out. How do you go about offensively trying to teach this sort of philosophy?
Well, I'll just tell you one thing, that it takes real courage, and it takes real toughness, and it takes guys that are just unselfish and that just want to stand there and do whatever it takes to win, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do whatever it takes to win for Kentucky. So if that means standing in the box and holding our ground, then, you know, we're going to ask our players to do it. If it means lay down a bunt, then we're going to ask our players to do it. If it means move a runner, like you had mentioned, or steal a base, or move up on a ball in third, or go first to third, then we're going to ask them to do it, because the game is, it's not scripted. There's always something new that's going to present itself, and you want to have your team ready. But you also have to have the personnel and the guys that are just super unselfish, willing to do it. And that's what we've done.
And look, you have to have smart guys as well, because it's I mean, it's easy to say, hey, if the ball's hit, you know, go to second. It's a lot harder to now, all right, you have to judge that ball that's hit to right and say, can I get first to third on this? Is it hit too hard? What's the guy's arm like in right? That kind of thing. So you have to have a lot of smart guys on the base paths.
No, you're right. It takes, you know, Casey Stengel, I don't know if you remember him, but famous manager, player, he said, I want
Coach, I'm
players
old.
with brains.
I'm old, Coach. I'm probably older than you at this point, so I remember Casey Stengel. We're all right on that.
He talked about brains and guts. Well, that's what you need. You need to have brains and guts.
Well, you certainly have a lot of that. Tell me a little bit, give me some of the guys that you're looking at, maybe some guys that are hot right now through the regional, some of the guys that we as folks here in Louisiana are going to be looking out for, and guys we need to watch out for on your squad.
I would just tell you that, you know, that is probably the beauty of our team, is like we just have a bunch of like talented, good players. And I would just say, if they're in the game, then we think they're good enough to to be out there and be on look for everybody, because you kind of have to have balance and depth. And, you know, I say that with all humility, that I just feel like, you know, we have this saying that whoever's, you know, our number one pitcher is whoever's on the mound at that time. So they're all important.
Yeah.
Right? Every inning.
Sure.
Every pitcher.
Well,
every guy.
And
so I would tell you they're all important.
And especially this year, Coach, and I'd like you to speak to this. Definitely shrunken strike zone this year, and the ball obviously is juiced. We're seeing this. We're going to set a record for most home runs in a single season in college baseball, which is insane considering the gorilla ball era back in the 90s. But the ball is definitely a little tighter. It's jumping a lot more, and the strike zone's a lot less. So I look down at your team ERA of 4.17, and this year, that is an impressive ERA.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. You know, I didn't realize this, but someone brought it up to me that us and Vanderbilt were the only two teams in the SEC that were top 5 in pitching and hitting in all of the SEC. It's just really hard to do, as you know. And Dan Roselle, our pitching coach, has done a great job. Our players have, you know, really bought into what we're trying to do on the mound and take on the demeanor that we want them to take on. And it's been a fun team. But boy, that baseball,
yeah,
it's going.
I'm curious. Can you feel that? Like, I mean, you know, coaches are out there throwing BP. I mean, when you grab a ball, can you feel it, or is it just sort of, hey, maybe there's something different with the core inside?
No,
what is it?
No, it seems smaller and tighter, and all you got to do is watch it go off the bat, and you're like, man, that's a different baseball.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that the ball is different, because it is jumping like it hasn't in several years. Are you good with that? Because obviously the BB core era was weird, and we were, you know, no one could hit home runs anymore. And now,
no,
I'm
not good with it.
You're not good with it?
No.
A little too much overcorrection, you think?
Yes, sir.
So where would you like it? Kind of where it was a couple of years ago? Because it feels like the last year or two was kind of good, right?
That's where I feel like it needs to be. And here's why. I mean, injuries are up. Guys are throwing harder. You know, the longer you make the game and the more they got to stand out there, and the more stressful pitches they got to throw, because this guy's on bad. I mean, so I would go the other way.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you, to be honest with you. I don't mind offense. Obviously, everyone, you know, chicks dig the long ball, and everyone loves offense and all that stuff. But I appreciate the fact that you know, pitchers if you make a mistake, it's not necessarily automatically a home run. We're talking to Nick Mingione, head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, getting ready to go to LSU. Give me the scouting report on LSU. Obviously, we know them very well. What does an opponent see? Obviously, you've seen them 3 times already this year. What do you see outside looking in that concerns you?
Well, I don't know. Obviously, I just have a lot of respect for them. And I just think that, obviously, Paul Skeens, when you have a guy like that, you can just roll out there. He's just amazing. He's done an awesome year. And then, obviously their lineup, and obviously, a lot of people talk about Skeens, but I feel like LSU's thrown the ball really well, especially of late. I just feel like they've kind of moved some pieces around and gotten some guys figured out. And, sometimes they had those injuries early in the year. And sometimes coaches, it takes you a little while to kind of reestablish roles and guys to get adjusted and, kind of figure out, okay, what's next and how does this affect me? I feel like they're playing really good baseball right now.
Yeah, it's and of course that's when you want to be peaking is about this moment in time. Finally, Coach, atmosphere. You've been at Baton Rouge already this year, which, a regular season, it was a Thursday series, which is always a little more difficult. The place is going to be wild. Is there anything that concerns you about atmosphere or anything that you talk to your team about in terms of the atmosphere?
Well, I just have so much respect for the LSU fans. And, I'll never forget back in 2012, Chris Stratton dueled up with, I can't remember the LSU starter at the time. It might have been Gosman in 12. You might remember better than I do.
Oh, no, my memory's terrible, Coach. I barely remember what I had for dinner last night, so you're asking the wrong guy.
What I do remember is the game was like really low scoring. It might have been 1-1 into the 9th or the 8th, and it was just like a pitching duel. They're just we're mowing them down. They're mowing us down. This is when I was at Mississippi State. I remember when we took Chris Stratton out of the game, the fans gave him a standing ovation. And I thought to myself, this is really awesome. Like, these are people that appreciate baseball. They have enough respect for the other team to even sit there and, clap and recognize, like, what a great job that guy did, because these are college student athletes, right? I think sometimes people think these guys are major leaguers. They're, and I just remember him walking off the field, and that day I was like, I have a lot of respect for these people, for not only the way they show up, the way they support their team. I think sometimes you can go to different environments, and it's just like more about them getting onto you as opposed to cheering for their team,
Right.
So I've always had a lot of respect for them and the way they not only show up, but the way they're engaged. They understand baseball. They appreciate a great play from either team. And obviously they want their Tigers to win.
Absolutely.
So
and by the way, your memory's very good, Coach. I just quickly looked it up. It was Kevin Gosman who struck out 11. Chris Stratton struck out 17 in 8 2/3 in that ball game.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We probably took him out. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
I just remember these are 2 future big leaguers, both still in the big leagues now. And I was like, that was a special night. And we didn't end up winning, but from that moment on, I've always had a lot of respect for the LSU fans.
Yeah, I always appreciate smart fans, right? You always appreciate smart, savvy fans that understand the game and understand, hey, someone just came in and shoved it against us. That guy deserves to have some respect as well. So I always appreciate that. Coach, we're going to let you go. I know you got a lot of stuff to get done and get handled. You're traveling. Safe travels. Best of luck down in the Supers in Baton Rouge, and thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome, Patrick. Thanks for having me on.
All right, appreciate it. Nick Mingione, head coach of the Kentucky Wildcat baseball team, on their way heading to Baton Rouge to take on the Tigers. Going to be a fun one. Super Regional play Saturday at 2, and then Sunday, and then potentially Monday. None of those times have been set yet because ESPN sets the times in the networks. So no time yet set for that one. But good stuff with Nick Mingione, man. Really appreciate him taking some time to be with us. That was very kind of him. All right, Rogers, let's catch a break. We'll come back. We'll chat about the Super Regional, whatever else is on your mind. Feel free to give us a holler, 318-320-1130, or text us on the Bobby L. Green Plumbing text line, 318-657-0426. We'll be back.
Bobby L. Green Plumbing has been in business for over 6 decades, 60-plus years. That's remarkable since technology is always shifting and times change. Not only has Bobby L. Green Plumbing survived, they adapted to the modern marketplace and they've thrived. Green Plumbing can spot trouble faster and repair it quicker using the latest technology. That eliminates your discomfort and saves you money. Bobby L. Green, the Green Team, the plumbing team you like best.
If you're looking for the finest in seafood, the finest in steaks, and a beautiful ambiance, you're looking for Two John Steak and Seafood, 2151 Airline Drive in Bossier City. It is absolutely spectacular, from the New Orleans-style courtyard to the ambiance of the bar to the elegance of the dining room. The best steaks, the best seafood, one of the best wine lists in town, and don't forget Friday lunch, where you can have a beautiful ribeye burger, just the tastiest one in town. It's Two John Steak and Seafood, and make sure you tell Big John we said hello.
Attention Medicare recipients and anyone turning 65. Medicare has approved new benefits not included with original Medicare and older Medicare Advantage plans. You may not be getting all of the benefits you're entitled to, including in-home aids, telephone appointments with your doctors, home-delivered meals and prescriptions. These benefits may be available, and it's a free call to enroll. The new plans may also offer free eyeglasses, free hearing aids, free wellness visits, and gym memberships. Call the Medicare benefits line now. It's easy. Call 800-810-8655. 800-810-8655. Find out if you're eligible for new benefits like meal and prescription delivery, in-home aids, and telemedicine. Some plans may have a $0 monthly premium or zero copays for big out-of-pocket savings. Not all Medicare Advantage plans are alike. The new plans have more benefits for many people. Call 800-810-8655. 800-810-8655. 800-810-8655. 8655.
With summer savings at the Home Depot, we'll get your kitchen clicking. With top brand appliances, like a new GE refrigerator with internal water dispenser for a crisp, cool glass of water every time, or a GE oven with built-in air fryer for healthier, crispier options with no preheating. Plus, with convenient shopping in-store and online at the Home Depot, your innovative new appliances are just a click away, too. Final days to save up to 30% on select appliances plus $300 off select refrigerators at the Home Depot ends June 7th. Pricing valid May 18th through June 7th, 2023. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
With summer savings at the Home Depot, we have laundry appliances that just fit. Fit your space, fit your needs, and fit your budget. Like a new LG laundry set with 6-motion technology, using different wash motions to get clothes cleaner. And sensor dry to automatically adjust drying time, all making laundry quicker, cleaner, and easier on your clothes. Final days to save up to 30% on select appliances plus $100 off select laundry sets at the Home Depot ends June 7th. Pricing valid May 18th through June 7th, 2023. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
The Dell Technologies Summer Sale event starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit.
It's almost here. The return of Shreveport's Comic-Con, GeekCon, this August at the Shreveport Convention Center. Hurry and get your tickets today. Johnny's Pizza Ultimate VIP tickets have already sold out. There are a limited number of Johnny's Pizza swag passes still available. Buy your tickets today at geekcon.com. This year, you can meet legendary filmmaker Kevin Smith, along with Superman actor Brandon Routh, WWE Hall of Famer and Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, from Doctor Who, John Barrowman, NFL Hall of Famer Bob Lilly, along with stars from Harry Potter, Disney, Star Wars, and more. Not only can you meet these stars, but you can hear them tell stories inside the U.S. Army panel room. Stay up to date by downloading the GeekCon app, brought to you by Landers, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. Keep an eye out for special pre-GeekCon parties at Bears on Fairfield and Shreveport. See the full lineup and get ticket info at geekcon.com.
Looking for a great way to spend your lunch break? Tune in to the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show. These guys will satisfy your appetite with wit, humor, and wisdom of the great outdoors. So grab a burger and kick back with the guys of Hooking Up and Tracking Down every Wednesday at 11 and Saturday mornings at 6 on FM 103.3 and AM 1130 The Tiger.
103.3 FM and 1130 The Tiger. Fox Sports plays here.
Let's get to the meat of the matter with producer Rogers Hampton.
Hey, boy!
Here's your master of ceremonies, Patrick Netherton.
Driving home this evening, could have sworn we had it all worked out.
Patrick Netherton Show, 1130 The Tiger. That guy over there is Rogers. I'm Patrick. Big thanks to Coach Nick Mingione for joining us to preview the Wildcats as they make their way to Baton Rouge tomorrow to take on Saturday. They're making their way to Baton Rouge tomorrow. And Saturday at 2, we'll be taking on the LSU Tigers in the Super Regional round. Winner of that, obviously, goes to Omaha. Rogers, based on where they're at right now, if LSU, let's say it goes to Game 3, LSU loses on a some sort of bloop single or an error or something in the 10th inning, and Kentucky goes to Omaha, is it a failed season in Baton Rouge, do you think? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it felt like, yeah, you were number one for basically the entire year. It feels like you have to at least get to Omaha. 2-Q in Omaha. Yeah, that gets a little tougher. Yeah. It feels like you got to Omaha. The thing with Omaha is it's yeah, I mean, you'd probably want to win the skiing start. Yeah. The thing with Omaha is if you win those first 2 games, you get like 3 days off. So it's a whole thing. If you can stay in the winners bracket in Omaha, you're set up well. Because the losers bracket has to go through and play while you're just sitting back. You get a couple days off. Rogers, you get to go to the Drover, whatever it is, get you a steak there in Omaha. That's one event I want to go to that I have not been to yet. I've been to Final Fours. I have been around a Super Bowl, but never actually been to a Super Bowl. I have been, have I been to a national championship game in football? No. But I've been, near it, around it. But I'd love to go to Omaha. I have never been. It's one of the things, and I even have, I've got folks at the NCAA who are like, yeah, we'll hook you up. Like, you come, we'll make sure you got credentials, you're good to go, like, you're in. Just come on. The problem is obviously going there, getting there, finding a place to stay. The hotel rooms are hard to come by or whatever, so it's a little difficult. But I would absolutely, positively love to go to Omaha at some point. Let's see. MJ Fanatic said, watching on YouTube looks good. Thank you, MJ. Much appreciated. Let's put MJ Fanatic in the old text line. MJ Fanatic. All right, you are added. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, and thank you for that's first comment MJ Fanatic has made. So we do appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in on the YouTube channel. Pumpman said, Rogers, great interview. Well, thank you, Pumpman. It's also true. Look, here's the thing. There are times when you have to kind of pull things out of folks. Luckily, that was not a scenario where I had to pull anything out of him. Now, he didn't kind of understand what I meant when I was talking about the friction at the end. If you don't know, Kentucky had the dog pile. Indiana maybe took a little offense. The handshake was a little bit frosty. There was talk, I think, after the fact that the Indiana coach kind of had some words afterward about it. And so because of that, there was a little friction. Indiana assistant coach Derek Simmons followed Kentucky's coaches after the handshake line. Indiana's Jeff Mercer said the regular season series between Indiana and Kentucky is done. So there you go. That's what you got going on. Apparently the coaches had a heated discussion after the 16-6 win, which was not that was the penultimate game. And after the game, apparently there was a whole thing. Jeff Mercer, the coach in Indiana, said, I don't want to get into it. There's just a lot. We just have to have a discussion about keeping it on the field and being professionals. We've done a really good job of that this year. We've been professional. We've been gentlemen. That's something really important to me, and I'm proud of that. We need to continue to be that. We need to continue to represent Indiana the correct way, represent the department, the program with class and dignity, and make sure we continue that. Mingione and Mercer appeared to have another heated discussion after Indiana was eliminated. The pair shook hands, but Mingione walked away while Mercer was still talking. So basically what we talked about, and we asked him about it, and he kind of, he deflected it, and then we kind of got back onto it, and he said, look, it's heat of the moment, the two programs that are getting after it, bunch of passionate guys, coaches, whatever, and so sometimes it gets heated, and that's what happened. So that's kind of what I was wanting to get out of him at that point. Kentucky and Indiana have been playing each other sparingly the last few seasons. Teams typically play a single midweek game, switching between Bloomington and Lexington each year. They used to have a 3-game non-conference series, but that won't happen again. The Indiana coach said Kentucky canceled that series last year. Kentucky and Indiana is no longer a series. They called and canceled it. This is the last time we're playing them unless it's in the postseason. They asked if we want to keep coming down here, but I'm not coming down here without a return trip, so it's done, which makes sense. Right, Indiana, Big Ten, they're not going to feel like they're that inferior. Indiana's got a good baseball history. So if Kentucky says, hey, we're only playing you at home, it's kind of, Rogers, a little bit like what happened with Tech and Northwestern. There was a couple of years where Tech, Northwestern and Tech were playing home and home in basketball. And then Tech said, hey, we're not playing home and home anymore. If you want to play us, you come to Ruston. We're not coming to Natchitoches. And so that kind of put the kibosh on it. That then, Tech has subsequently been back to Natchitoches to play a game. So it kind of cooled a little bit. But, yeah, that's the old regional rivalry, man. That stuff happens. And apparently that's going on in the Indiana-Kentucky thing. So that's what we were talking to Coach Mingione about. That's kind of what I was alluding to. And he gave us, the answer that I figured he would. Heat of the moment, proud programs, guys who are passionate, et cetera, et cetera. But good news, good work on the offensive versatility they've got going on, their ability to get hit by pitch, to walk, to hit and run, to bunt and run, to take an extra bag. The guy's awareness on the base paths of being able to, go first and third on a ball hit to right, that sort of thing. So that's really what you want to look out for. If Kentucky's on the base paths, they're going to cause havoc. The main thing is just don't let them go. Skeens has been really good. Hasn't walked a lot of guys. That's going to be key. Don't walk a bunch of guys. Don't hit a bunch of guys. Keep them off the base paths, and that will typically mean you'll have a much better opportunity to win the game. By the way, if you want to watch that interview, it is now up on the YouTube channel. Again, if you want to check out the YouTube channel, just go find us, go to YouTube, search for The Patrick Netherton Show, subscribe if you like. We would appreciate it. Again, we're likely going to have the stream on the YouTube channel for the foreseeable future. On the YouTube stream, Sam said Andy Dalton's. And I don't know what that was in reference to or what that was about. Rogers, any idea why someone would just randomly put Andy Dalton's on our stream? I don't know. Sam, I'd love an explanation if you could tell me what you meant by Andy Dalton's. That'd be appreciated. But again, you can send messages on the stream on YouTube, and we'd love to have you. And again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's get our viewership numbers up. The great news about it is you don't have to subscribe. You don't even have to have a YouTube account in order to continue to watch the stream and be a part of it. So there you go. So good stuff from Nick Mingione, the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, as we get you set. Apparently, Lionel Messi is now going to Miami, which I'd like to care, but I don't really. I'm not worried about soccer. I will say, kind of a tough day today, Rogers. We did lose one of the best Twitter accounts from one of the biggest personalities in wrestling history. The Iron Sheik has passed away at the age of 81. The Sheik had it's funny because I was listening to y'all this morning, and Adam was referencing the Iron Sheik's Twitter, which I hope someone continues to run that account, because it is a really hilarious account. A lot of F Hulk Hogan, I break his back, make him humble, put him in the camel clutch, that kind of stuff. A lot of F-bombs on that account, and a lot of just random things that he would F-bomb, which made it even funnier. Just random stuff that he would come after. Rogers, his last tweet before his death, F the wildfires. So obviously he didn't say F. He used the real he used the real word. Before that, he said, "Whoever let the dogs out can go F themselves." He also got mad because the WWE on Fox put a list, asked ChatGPT, the AI, to rank the top 10 WWE finishers of all time, and they didn't put the camel clutch on there. So he said the list is jabroni without the camel clutch. Rogers, you'll appreciate this. A good Eagles reference. Desperado. Why don't you come to your senses, you dumb SOB? So that's a little flavor of what the Iron Sheik is all about. So his Twitter account was legendary, hilarious, and his pinned tweet from June of 2018, Rogers, and I think this says it best. This is the pinned tweet from 5 years ago, and it's really just good advice for all of us to take with us. It is take a minute of your day to be nice to someone, you dumb SOB. And obviously he didn't use SOB. So there you go. Rogers, good life advice from the Iron Sheik. Take a minute to be nice to someone, you dumb SOB. That's what Rogers says to people. Gives them the old hey boy swerve. They don't know it's coming. All right. So baseball going on. We got the first game of the the Women's College World Series Championship Series coming up tonight. Hambone, we did this last year where we went over Oklahoma's numbers, which are just ridiculous. Last year, they were ridiculous. This year, they are, I want to say if they're as ridiculous, but they're certainly pretty crazy. So just a quick taste. And again, this is the hard thing about this is they don't really put their stats where they're easily found, and I don't know why. It kind of drives me crazy. You have to work hard. But the most impressive thing about Oklahoma this year is that they are 59-1 and on a 51-game winning streak. Rogers, do you know who they lost to? 59-1. I haven't looked. I think it was Texas. It was early on in the season. No, they lost to Baylor. Glenn Maynor in Baylor lost 4-3 to Baylor. That was at the Getterman Classic in Waco. So at Baylor, they lose to Baylor 4-3, and then they go on a 51-game winning streak. including a 5-run shortened win over then number 1 UCLA. The number of times that they won in 5 innings. All right, so let's just say the number of times they won in a shortened game. I'm going to count them up real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, good Lord, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This is insane. 19. Then they get to an out-of-conference tournament. They go 20 and 21 there. Then 22, 23, a couple over Kansas. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. No, that was long. 29. That was 9 innings. 29, Rogers. They have had 29 run rule wins in their 60 games so far. So basically half of their games have ended before the full 7 innings. They are 59-1, 19-0 at home, 14-1 away from home, and 26-0 on a neutral site, which is obviously where they are in Oklahoma City. I don't know what to say. Like, that's just completely insane. It really is. Like, that is just crazy bonkers to put up those kind of numbers. I don't know why they don't make their stats readily available. Like, you have to go find them. They're not just, normally most D1 programs on their website have just hey, here's our stats. But you have to go find the stats for softball. Rogers, they have 4 players hitting over 400 this season. Their team batting average is .368. Their opponent's batting average is .164. They are 204 points better than their opponents. Their OPS over 1,000, actually over 1,100. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different players who have an OPS over 1,000. No, sorry, one more. 8 players with OPS over 1,000. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different players who have slugging percentages over 700%. They have 115 home runs and just 162 strikeouts. So they average almost 2 home runs a game, but average less than 3 strikeouts a game. Pitching, well, it's just as good as hitting. They have a 0.98 ERA. Their opponents have an 8.88 ERA. They have pitched over almost 400 innings this year and have given up a grand total of 52 earned runs. They have 2 pitchers who have ERAs under 1. And, of course, 3 of their 4 pitchers are undefeated because they only have 1 loss. Nicole May, 18-0 with a 0.91 ERA. Jordy Ball, who is their stud, I say that. The other pitcher is 18-0 with a .91. Jordy Ball is 21-1 with a .97 ERA. Both of them have over 130 strikeouts. Jordy Ball has 180 strikeouts. It's just nothing short of remarkable what they're doing. I mean, they are the absolute dynasty of softball. It's completely insane. Jordy Ball, who I just mentioned, she's their number 1, their stud. Ball, a first-team All-American last year, freshman of the year nationally last year, top 10 for softball player of the year nationally last year, Big 12 co-pitcher of the year last year, Big 12 freshman of the year last year, and now she's a sophomore. Last year, she went 22-1 with a 109 ERA. This year, it's even better. I think I'd just say she's 21-1 with a 0.97 ERA. For her career, she is 43-2 with an ERA right at 1. I'm a stats guy. I love stats. I think they're kind of fascinating. I don't like all the advanced metrics, the BABIP and all that. I don't know any of that stuff. Wins over replacement, the WAR. I don't know any of that stuff. But just you give me this number, 21-1 with a 0.97, and her career is 43-2 with a 1.01 ERA. I can tell you that's a damn good pitcher. That's Jordy Ball, number 98 for Oklahoma. Just wild. And Florida State gets to deal with that. So, Rogers, you can watch 30 minutes of the softball before the basketball starts. Although the basketball's not going to start at 7:30. It's going to start at 7:42 or something. So I know Hambone will be checking out the softball before he heads over to watch the basketball, because I know he'll be watching both of those things. It's the Patrick Netherton Show, 11:30 The Tiger. We'll come back to wrap this bad boy up. Appreciate you tuning in, and big thanks to Nick Mingione for joining us.
Bobby L. Green Plumbing has been in business for